My name is Woody Mister. I get information. I solve problems. I've worked for government agencies. I've done the dirty deeds. I've lived the covert lifestyle. I'm a technical consultant for the Splinter Cell games. I'm the real deal, and you'll never know I was there. It's deniable. Covert operations are definitely deniable. Nobody knows where the money's coming to fund it. Nobody knows who the people are. The men are in alias. They're undercover, if you will. It can range anywhere from a simple surveillance or counter-surveillance mission. Maybe you're following a person. Then it can go be as big as a huge operation, a huge raid or mission into a denied area behind enemy lines, extract a certain individual, snatch them, if you will, eliminate a threat, take out a target, a bad guy, or some other type of target material. Maybe you're going in to snatch some sort of nuclear material, but it's important enough that they're sending bodies in there. They're risking a lot of money and a lot of human lives to do it. There's a lot of times where missions come down at the last minute. You're asleep. You get beeped in the middle of the night. You got to tell the wife and kids, I'm out of there. You just told them you were going on 3 weeks vacation to Disney World. Now you're not going anymore. Why? Because you got to roll out. We call it getting fragged. The timeline is shortened down to within just several hours, maybe just several days. Maybe you have to fly across the world, fuel up the G5, we're rolling. Any teams that we do have are no bigger than something you've seen on Mission Impossible. It's just a few people. So you've got to fly under the radar, and you've got to slip in. You can't take the weaponry with you. You're going to have to acquire it when you get downrange. Whether you steal it, whether you can buy it. If you're working with a government agency and they logistically have the ability to support you, they're going to go ahead and have that stuff waiting for you. If you're working for a non-governmental organization, you may have to find other options. The war on terror is World War III. It's not going to go away. Whether you believe in it or whether you agree with it, it's not going to go away. And it will always be there, and they will always be out there trying to kill you, and they'd sooner cut your head off as they would take a sandwich out of the refrigerator. The best way to secure this country is to keep special operations and covert operations going at full bore. The worst thing we ever did was get rid of our human intelligence capability, and the best thing we ever did was bring it back. If we had thousands and thousands of covert operatives similar to the character Sam Fisher out in the field, we'd be one step closer to winning the war on terror. Intel drives operations, period. You prepare by collecting all the equipment necessary to conduct a mission. You get everything together, you conduct rehearsals, you do the plan again, you conduct more rehearsals. Once the timeline is correct, you act. You move, and you move lightning fast. The bigger the mission is, the more logistics involved, the more opportunities for something to go wrong. And if something can go wrong, it will go wrong, and when it goes wrong, it usually goes wrong really bad. You have to have the ability to bounce back. That's when it gets real. That's when all the training just takes over. That's when you start making decisions quickly on the spot, boom. If you're on a team, everybody's got to be singing off the same sheet of music, moving quickly, fighting hard, making good decisions. There's no time for second best out there. The best type of person for this job is somebody that has street smarts and common sense. You can teach them how to shoot. You can teach them how to be stealthy. You can get them in shape. Cameras, surveillance, techniques, tactics. All those things are easily taught if a guy has the aptitude for learning and he's got street smarts and common sense. There's a lot of people out there that are the greatest shot in the world, sniper, and they're dumb as a box of rocks. And you just wouldn't choose them for an operation where they have to think on their feet and focus and get the job done. They need to be able to admit nothing, deny everything, and make counter accusations when confronted. Remember long, arduous aliases when they're slipping in and out of countries, and be able to change those things on the spot. They need to be good salesmen, good marketing people, face-to-face, good people. If you don't have those types of skills, you're not cut out for the type of job where you have to stand there, look at a person in their face, tell them you're somebody else, and lie to them. You know, you're never going to know who was a double agent in a lot of cases. And the ones that have been publicized, there's not that many of them. Only the best or the worst double agents don't get caught. I've never worked as a double agent, or I wouldn't be sitting here on camera. You gotta understand, double agents are the bad guy. Double agents are the guy that lies to even his own people. Even Sam Fisher has a backstop. He's got people that are looking out for him. He's got people that can rescue him potentially if he needs it. Double agents risk all of that. If they're caught, if they're captured, they'll probably be killed on the spot. Back in the Cold War, a double agent could last for a long time. Things are different now. It's really around money. It's more like doing a dirty drug deal than anything else. The war on terror is a completely different type of war now. You can't trust anybody, you know? You just can't trust anybody anymore. All of us get frustrated with our governments. You're not getting to the bottom of things. You know how to find this bad guy. You know how to grab him. You know where he's going to be, but they won't let you go in and get him. And all of us wonder what it would be like to go rogue. And you contemplate snapping and just saying, you know what, I could get this job done if they just let me do it my way. That's about as close as I've ever gotten to being a rogue. But that still wouldn't bring me to being a double agent. I've had an interesting run throughout the world. In the 80s, I spent the majority of my time in Central and South America, the drug wars, the counter-narcotics operations, the cartels, that 9 yards. You see a lot. You see a lot of strange airfields in the middle of nowhere that you're planting sensors on that you wouldn't typically think was an airfield. Next thing you know, there's something landing on it. And the sensor picks it up and you've done a good job. By the 90s, I was mainly in Europe, the Balkans, Albania, Kosovo. Most of the operations that we conducted over there were surveillance and a lot of clandestine operations, a lot of snatch missions. In the late 90s, it was mainly Africa and the Middle East. Those places were pretty hot. Obviously, during the war on terror, the majority of the time has been spent in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all the countries that have been contributing to terror. Special operations and covert operations are very dangerous. You always prepare for them, you train, you prep, and you're ready, mentally, psychologically, physically. Sometimes things go wrong, and it gets real for you. You get scared, you have to have the ability to buckle down, focus, cowboy up, and take care of business, get the job done. During the invasion of Panama in '89, while we were on the raid at Paitilla Airfield, trying to capture General Noriega, guys were getting shot down all around me. It got real. I was very young, not quite hard to the world yet. I thought I was totally prepared. I found myself doing what I trained for, but I also found myself scared shitless. That's when you need to just get mad dog mean, get in there, help your buddies, do what you gotta do, and come back out. Yeah, of course I play video games. I get wrapped up into playing video games to the point where I feel like I have to finish the mission. Next thing you know, I look up, it's 3 in the morning and I'm getting yelled at by my wife. I was a big Splinter Cell fan from the first game. The stealth concept is unmatchable. The character itself was close to my heart. Sam Fisher, supposed to be the former Navy SEAL and working in covert operations, right up my alley. Had the family, had the problems. It was very realistic. When I went to Ubisoft, Splinter Cell appeared to be derived from a lot of open source information on the internet, a lot of movies, a lot of books. It kind of surprised me that there was no technical consultant working on getting all the parts right. The writers did a great job coming up with a lot of different scenarios, but some of the stuff didn't really fit in real world. And that's the whole point of the game, is as real as it gets, you know. We want it to be as close, as raw, and as gritty and realistic as possible. The only way you can get those types of details is by consulting with people that know how to do it. Sam Fisher takes a couple bullets, he's gonna die. So he needs to be quiet. He needs to be stealthy. It's just him out there. That's realistic. That's what you would really do. Sam Fisher can't always complete his mission if he does something wrong, or he gets caught, or he doesn't pull somebody off to the side. That's realistic. That would really happen if you were out there by yourself. The types of agility skills that he has and his ability to sneak in and out of places, extremely typical. Do that type of thing all the time. You're gonna pie off a corner. If anybody sees you, you may have to take him out. If you do take him out, your weapon's gonna be suppressed. It's gonna be quiet. You're gonna drag that person off. You're gonna try and get in and get out without being caught. If you do get compromised, typically you might have to unass the area. Very similar to the game. It's very much like that. The type of weaponry that they use in Splinter Cell is pretty close to the real thing. And he uses a knife down. All of that is very realistic. When I refer to taking somebody out, I'm referring to in a lethal way. The technology today doesn't facilitate less than lethal field use. It's not something that you can utilize. It's going to be lethal. It's going to be a rifle round in your belly or the head, hopefully the head. Some of the gadgetry gets a little far-fetched, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. He's got sticky cameras that he can shoot out of a gun. Plausible? Possibly. Do we have it right now? No, but it's pretty darn cool. The night vision capabilities that Sam Fisher has also are realistic. They're very unique, obviously, but he has the ability to switch from night vision to thermal vision, which would be very, very expensive. We're talking $25,000 pair of, night observation devices, or nods, what we call them. But if it's Sam Fisher, maybe Sam Fisher could get a pair of $50,000 nods. The infiltration and the exfiltration pieces of any operation are some of the most arduous and most dangerous parts of an entire mission. The actual actions on the objective area are usually done very, very quickly, cleanly, and dynamically. Those aren't the hard parts. The hard part's getting in and getting out. Splinter Cell does that about as close as it gets. Sam Fisher's an interesting character because he's tough and he's raw. And that's the way you need to be when you're working in this type of environment. He's an action guy, he's not necessarily an intel collector. When you're on a mission, you're relying on your wits and your training. You don't have time to play around with bullshit. Ubisoft didn't develop Splinter Cell based on me, but the character of Sam Fisher mirrors a lot of my life. And I can identify with the character very much. Said a lot of the same things that he said, and thought a lot of the same things that he's thought. Probably my favorite cinematic, or my favorite moment at the end of the first Splinter Cell was when he's sitting there with his daughter, and the idea of him retiring was on the plate. All of a sudden the phone rings and he's, goes to pick it up. He's got those pressures at home. Those pressures are real. I have the same type of pressures with my family, and it's a situation that every one of us that has left recently, as I have, has had to, those paths have definitely crossed, and it's a tough thing to do. You're an action guy forever.